Avril Ramona Lavigne is a Canadian singer-songwriter and actress. By the age of 15, she had appeared on stage with Shania Twain. By 16, she had signed a 2-album recording contract with Arista Records worth more than $2 million. In 2002 she released her debut album, Let Go, featuring personas of a skater punk and pop-punk princess. She has sold more than 40 million albums and over 50 million singles worldwide. Let Go made Lavigne the youngest female soloist to reach #1 in the UK. As of 2013, it has sold nearly 7 million copies in the United States and over 20 million copies worldwide. Her breakthrough single, Complicated, peaked at #1 in many countries around the world, as did the album Let Go. Her second studio album, Under My Skin, was released in May 2004 and was her first album to peak at #1 on the US Billboard 200, eventually selling more than 12 million copies worldwide. The Best Damn Thing, Lavigne's third album, was released in April 2007, becoming her third #1 album in the UK Albums Chart and featuring her first US Billboard Hot 100 #1 single, Girlfriend. Lavigne has scored 6 #1 singles worldwide, including Complicated, Skater Boy, I'm With You, My Happy Ending, Nobody's Home, and Girlfriend. Lavigne is one of the top-selling artists releasing albums in the US, with over 12 million copies certified by the RIA. Her fourth studio album, Goodbye Lullaby, was released in March 2011. Goodbye Lullaby gave Lavigne her fourth top 10 album on the US Billboard 200 and the UK Albums Chart and her third #1 album in both Japan and Australia. 3 months after the release of Goodbye Lullaby, Lavigne began work on her eponymously titled fifth studio album, which was released by Epic Records on the 1st of November 2013 following her departure from RCA Records in 2011. Lavigne took a break from recording music, pursuing careers in feature film acting and designing clothes and perfumes. She voiced Heather, a Virginia opossum, in the animated film Over the Hedge in 2006. That same year, she made her on-screen feature film debut in Fast Food Nation. In 2008, Lavigne introduced her clothing line, Abby Dawn, and in 2009 she released her first perfume, Black Star, which was followed by her second perfume, Forbidden Rose, in 2010 and her third perfume, Wild Rose, in 2011. In July 2006, Lavigne married her boyfriend of 2 years, Derek Whibley, lead singer and guitarist for Sum 41. The marriage lasted 4 years. In October 2009, Lavigne filed for divorce. Whibley and Lavigne continued to work together, with Whibley producing her fourth album, as well as Lavigne's single, Alice, written for Tim Burton's film Alice in Wonderland. Lavigne married Nickelback frontman Chad Kroeger in 2013. Early life and education. Lavigne was born in Belleville, Ontario, Canada. Her mother is of English, Scottish, and German descent, and her father, Jean-Claude Joseph Lavigne, is of French-Canadian extraction, and Avril holds a French passport. She was named Avril by her father after the French word for the month of April. He and Lavigne's mother, Judy, recognized their child's vocal abilities when she was 2 years old and sang Jesus Loves Me on the way home from church. Lavigne has an older brother, Matthew, and a younger sister, Michelle, both of whom teased her when she sang. My brother used to knock on the wall because I used to sing myself to sleep and he thought it was really annoying. When Lavigne was 5 years old, the family moved to Greater Napanee, Ontario, a town with a population of approximately 5,000. As a child, she was sometimes kicked out of class for misbehaving. Her parents supported her singing. Her father bought her a microphone, a drum kit, a keyboard, and several guitars, and converted the basement into a studio. Following his own love for music, Jean-Claude led the family to church at Third Day Worship Center in Kingston, Ontario, where he often played bass. When Lavigne was 14 years old, her parents took her to karaoke sessions. Lavigne also performed at country fairs, singing songs by Garth Brooks, the Dixie Chicks, and Shania Twain. She also began writing her own songs. Her first song was called "Can't Stop Thinking About You," about a teenage crush, which she described as cheesy cute. Music career, 1999 to 2001, early performances and record deal. In 1999, Lavigne won a radio contest to perform with the Canadian singer Shania Twain at the Corel Centre in Ottawa, before an audience of 20,000 people. Twain and Lavigne sang Twain's song, "What Made You Say That?" and Lavigne told Twain that she was going to be a famous singer. During a performance with the Lenox Community Theatre, Lavigne was spotted by local folk singer Stephen Medd. He invited her to contribute vocals on his song, "Touch the Sky," for his 1999 album, Quinte Spirit. She later sang on "Temple of Life" and "Two Rivers" for his follow-up album, My Window to You, in 2000. In December 1999, Lavigne was discovered by her first professional manager, Cliff Fabry, while singing country covers at a Chapters bookstore in Kingston, Ontario. Fabry sent out VHS tapes of Lavigne's home performances to several industry prospects, and Lavigne was visited by several executives. Mark Jowett, co-founder of a Canadian management firm, Network, received a copy of Lavigne's karaoke performances recorded in her parents' basement. Jowett arranged for Lavigne to work with producer Peter Zitzo during the summer of 2000 in New York, where she wrote the song Why. Lavigne was noticed by Arista Records during a trip to New York. In November 2000, Ken Krongard, an A&R representative, invited Antonio L.A. Reid, then head of Arista Records, to Zizzo's Manhattan studio to hear Lavigne sing. Her 15-minute audition so impressed Reid that he immediately signed her to Arista with a deal worth $1.25 million for 2 albums and an extra $900,000 for a publishing advance. By this time, Lavigne had found that she fit in naturally with her hometown high school skater clique, an image that carried through to her first album. But although she enjoyed skateboarding, school left her feeling insecure. Having signed a record deal, and with support from her parents, she left school to focus on her music career. Lavigne's band was chosen by Network, as they wanted young performers who were up and coming from the Canadian punk rock scene who would fit with Lavigne's personality. 2002-03, Let Go. Reid gave A&R Joshua Sarubin the responsibility of overseeing Lavigne's development and the recording of her debut album. They spent several months in New York working with different co-writers, trying to forge an individual sound for her. Sarubin told Hit Quarters that they initially struggled, although early collaborations with songwriter-producers including Sable Brea, Kurt Frasker and Peter Zitzer resulted in some good songs. They did not match her or her voice. It was only when Lavigne then went to Los Angeles in May 2001 and created 2 songs with the Matrix production team, including Complicated, later released as her debut single, that the record company felt she had made a major breakthrough. Lavigne worked further with The Matrix and also with singer-songwriter Cliff Magnus. Recording of Lavigne's debut album, Let Go, finished in January 2002. Lavigne released Let Go in June 2002 in the US, where it reached number 2 on the Billboard 200 Albums chart. It peaked at number 1 in Australia, Canada, and the UK. This made Lavigne, at 17 years old, the youngest female soloist to have a number 1 album on the UK Albums chart at the time. By the end of 2002, the album was certified 4 times platinum by the RIA, making her the best-selling female artist of 2002 and Let Go the top-selling debut of the year. By May 2003, Let Go had accumulated over 1 million sales in Canada, receiving a diamond certification from the Canadian Recording Industry Association. By 2009, the album had sold over 16 million units worldwide, and the RIA certified the album 6 times platinum, denoting shipments of over 6 million units in the US. Lavigne's debut single, Complicated, peaked at number 1 in Australia and number 2 in the US. Complicated was one of the best-selling Canadian singles of 2002 and one of the decade's biggest hits in the US, where subsequent singles, Escator Boy and I'm With You, reached the top 10. With these 3 singles, Lavigne became the second artist in history to have 3 top 10 songs from a debut album on Billboard's mainstream top 40 chart. Lavigne was named Best New Artist at the 2002 MTV Video Music Awards, won 4 Juno Awards in 2003 out of 6 nominations, received a World Music Award for World's Best-Selling Canadian Singer, and was nominated for 8 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist and Song of the Year for Complicated. In 2002, Lavigne made a cameo appearance in the music video for 100 Million by the pop-punk band Treble Charger. In March 2003, Lavigne posed for the cover of Rolling Stone magazine, and in May she performed Fuel during MTV's Icon Tribute to Metallica. During her first headlining tour, the Try to Shut Me Up tour, Lavigne covered Green Day's Basket Case. 2004-05, Under My Skin. Lavigne's second studio album, Under My Skin, was released in May 2004 and debuted at number 1 in Australia, Canada, Japan, the UK, and the US. The album was certified 5 times platinum in Canada and has sold 14 million copies, including 3.2 million in the US. Lavigne wrote most of the album's tracks with Canadian singer-songwriter Chantal Crevier-Zouk and Crevier-Zouk's husband, Our Lady Peace frontman Rain Maida, co-produced the album with Butch Walker and Don Gilmore. Lavigne said that Under My Skin proved her credentials as a songwriter, saying that each song comes from a personal experience of mine, and there is so much emotions in those songs. Don't Tell Me, the lead single off the album, reached the top 5 in the UK and Canada and the top 10 in Australia. My Happy Ending, the album's second single, was a top 5 hit in the UK and Australia. In the US, it was a top 10 entry on the Billboard Hot 100 and became a number 1 pop radio hit. The third single, Nobody's Home, did not manage to make the top 40 in the US and performed moderately elsewhere. During early 2004, Lavigne went on the Live and By Surprise acoustic mall tour in the US and Canada to promote Under My Skin, accompanied by her guitarist Evan Taubenfeld. In late 2004, Lavigne embarked on her first world tour, the year-long Bonnes Tour. Lavigne won 2 World Music Awards in 2004 for World's Best Pop Rock Artist and World's Best-Selling Canadian Artist, and won 3 Juno Awards from 5 nominations in 2005, including Artist of the Year. She also won in the category of Favorite Female Singer at the 18th 15th Annual Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards. Lavigne co-wrote the song "Breakaway," which was recorded by Kelly Clarkson for the soundtrack to the 2004 film The Princess Diaries 2: Royal Engagement. "Breakaway" was released as a single in mid-2004 and subsequently included as the title track on Clarkson's second album, Breakaway. Lavigne performed the Goo Goo Dolls song "Irises" with the band's lead singer John Rzeznik at Fashion Rocks in September 2004, and she posed for the cover of Maxim in October 2004. She recorded the theme song for the SpongeBob SquarePants movie with producer Butch Walker, 2006-08. The Best Damn Thing in February 2006. Lavigne represented Canada at the closing ceremony of the 2006 Winter Olympics. Fox Entertainment Group approached Lavigne to write a song for the soundtrack to the 2006 fantasy adventure film Eragon. Her contribution, "Keep Holding On," was released as a single to promote the film in its soundtrack. Lavigne's third album, The Best Damn Thing, was released in April 2007 and debuted at #1 on the US Billboard 200, and subsequently achieving platinum status in Canada. The album sold more than 1.7 million copies in the US and 6 million worldwide. Its lead single, Girlfriend, became Lavigne's first #1 single on the US Billboard Hot 100 and one of the decade's biggest singles. The single also peaked at #1 in Australia, Canada, and Japan, and reached #2 in the UK and France, as well as English. Girlfriend was recorded in Spanish, French, Italian, Portuguese, German, Japanese, and Mandarin. The International Federation of the Phonographic Industry ranked Girlfriend as the most downloaded track worldwide in 2007, selling 7.3 million copies, including the versions recorded in 8 different languages. When You're Gone, the album's second single, reached the top 5 in Australia and the United Kingdom, the top 10 in Canada, and the top 40 in the US. Hot was the third single and charted only at number 95 in the US, although it reached the top 10 in Canada and the top 20 in Australia. Lavigne won 2 World Music Awards in 2007 for World's Best-Selling Canadian Artist and World's Best Pop Rock Female Artist. She won her first 2 MTV Europe Music Awards, received a Teen Choice Award for Best Summer Single, and was nominated for 5 Juno Awards. In December 2007, Lavigne was ranked number 8 in Forbes magazine's list of top 20 earners under 25, with annual earnings of $12 million. In March 2008, Lavigne undertook a world tour, the Best Damn World Tour, and appeared on the cover of Maxim for the second time. In mid-August, Malaysia's Islamic opposition party, the Pan-Malaysian Islamic Party, attempted to ban Lavigne's tour show in Kuala Lumpur, judging her stage moves too sexy. Her concert on the 29th of August was thought that it would promote wrong values ahead of Malaysia's Independence Day on the 31st of August. On the 21st of August 2008, MTV reported that the concert had been approved by the Malaysian government. 2009-11, Goodbye Lullaby. In January 2010, Lavigne worked with Disney clothing designs inspired by Tim Burton's feature film Alice in Wonderland. She recorded a song for its soundtrack, Alice, which was played over the end credits and included on the soundtrack album Almost Alice. In February, Lavigne performed at the Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics closing ceremony. Lavigne's song, I'm With You, was sampled by Rihanna on the track, Cheers, which is featured on Rihanna's 5th studio album, Loud. Cheers was released as a single the following year, and Lavigne appeared in its music video. In December 2010, American singer Miranda Cosgrove released Dancing Crazy, a song written by Lavigne, Max Martin and Shellback. It was also produced by Martin. Lavigne began recording for her fourth studio album, Goodbye Lullaby, in her home studio in November 2008. Its opening track, Black Star, was written to help promote her first fragrance of the same name. Lavigne described the album as being about her life experiences rather than focusing on relationships, and its style as less pop rock than her previous material, reflecting her age. The release date for Goodbye Lullaby was delayed several times, which Lavigne said was because of her label. Goodbye Lullaby was released in March 2011, and its lead single, What the Hell, premiered in December 2010. Goodbye Lullaby sold 368,000 copies in the US and received Juno Award nominations for Album of the Year and Pop Album of the Year. 2012 present Avril Lavigne. 3 months after the release of Goodbye Lullaby, Lavigne announced that work on her fifth studio album had already begun, describing it as the musical opposite of Goodbye Lullaby and pop and more fun again. In late 2011, she confirmed that she had moved to Epic Records, headed by L.A. Reid. Lavigne contributed 2 cover songs to the 2012 Japanese animated film One Piece film, said, How You Remind Me, and Bad Reputation. The lead single from Lavigne's fifth studio album, Here's to Never Growing Up, was released in April 2013 and reached top 20 positions on the Billboard Hot 100, Australia and the UK. The second single, Rock and Roll, was released in August 2013 and the third, Let Me Go, was released in October 2013. The album, eponymously titled Avril Lavigne, was released in November 2013 and sold 125,000 copies in the US. In Canada, it was certified gold and received a Juno Award nomination for Pop Album of the Year. During mid-2014, Lavigne opened for boy band the Backstreet Boys in a World Like This tour and played at the music festival Summer Sonic in Tokyo, Japan. In an April 2015 interview with Billboard, Lavigne announced plans to release a new single titled Fly, which was released on the 26th of April in association with the 2015 Special Olympics World Summer Games, and to release a Christmas album. Artistry, musical style and songwriting themes in Lavigne's music include messages of self-empowerment from a female or an adolescent view. Lavigne believes her songs are about being yourself no matter what and going after your dreams even if your dreams are crazy and even if people tell you they're never going to come true. On her debut album, Let Go, Lavigne preferred the less mainstream songs, such as Losing Grip, instead of her more radio-friendly singles, such as Complicated, saying that the songs I did with The Matrix were good for my first record, but I don't want to be that pop anymore. Lavigne's second album, Under My Skin, had deeper personal themes underlying each song, saying that I've gone through so much, so that's what I talk about. Like boys, like dating or relationships. In contrast, her third album, The Best Damn Thing, was not personal to her. Some of the songs I wrote didn't even mean that much to me. It's not like some personal thing I'm going through. Her objective in writing the album was simply to make it fun. Goodbye Lullaby, Lavigne's fourth album, was much more personal than her earlier records, with Lavigne describing the album as more stripped down, deeper. All the songs are very emotional. Ian McKellen defined her as a punk chanteuse, a post-grunge Valkyrie, with the wounded soul of a poet and the explosive pugnacity of a Canadian. On The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson in 2007. Most critics and publications, such as the New York Times, Rolling Stone, NME, Music Mite, IGN and Pop Matters, have identified Lavigne as a mix of alternative rock, pop rock and pop punk, influenced by a post-grunge sound. While Lavigne denied being angry, her interviews were still passionate about the media's lack of respect for her songwriting. She said, "I'm a writer, and I won't accept people trying to take that away from me," adding that she had been writing full structured songs since she was 14. Despite this, Lavigne's songwriting has been questioned throughout her career. The songwriting trio The Matrix, with whom Lavigne wrote songs for her debut album, claimed that they were the main songwriters of Lavigne's singles Complicated, Skater Boy, and I'm With You. Lavigne denied this, asserting that she was the primary songwriter for every song on the album, saying that "one of those songs aren't from me." In 2007, Chantal Kreviazuk, who wrote with Lavigne on her second album, accused Lavigne of plagiarism and criticized her songwriting, saying that Avril doesn't really sit and write songs by herself or anything. Lavigne also disclaimed this and considered taking legal action against Kreviazuk for clear defamation against her character. Kreviazuk later apologized, saying that Avril is an accomplished songwriter and it has been my privilege to work with her. Shortly after that, Tommy Dunbar, founder of the band The Rubinews, sued Lavigne, her publishing company, and Dr. Luke Gottwald for allegedly stealing parts of I Wanna Be Your Boyfriend for her song Girlfriend. Gottwald defended Lavigne, stating, "Me and Avril wrote the song together. It has the same chord progressions as 10 different Blink-182 songs, the standard changes you'd find in a Sum 41 song. It's the Sex Pistols, not the Rubinews." In January 2008, the lawsuit was closed after a confidential settlement had been reached. Influences. Lavigne's earlier influences came from country music acts such as Garth Brooks, the Dixie Chicks and Shania Twain, and alternative singer-songwriters such as Alanis Morissette, Lisa Loeb, Natalie Imbruglia, and Janis Joplin. By the time she left school to focus on her music career, Lavigne was musically more influenced by skate punk, pop punk and punk rock acts such as Blink-182, Sum 41, NOFX, Pennywise, Dashboard Confessional, Green Day, The Ramones, The Distillers and Hole. She also enjoyed metal bands such as Marilyn Manson, System of a Down, Incubus and The Used, as well as alternative bands such as Nirvana, No Doubt, Goo Goo Dolls, Radiohead, Coldplay, Oasis, Third Eye Blind and Matchbox 20. Because of these influences, musical genres, and Lavigne's personal style, the media often defined her as punk, something she denied being. Lavigne's close friend and guitarist, Evan Taubenfeld, said, "It's a very touchy subject to a lot of people, but the point is that Avril isn't punk," but she never really pretended to claim to come from that scene. She had pop-punk music and the media ended up doing the rest. Lavigne also commented on the matter, "I have been labeled like I'm this angry girl, rebel, punk, and I'm so not any of them." Quote, although she stated to have punk influences on her music, "I like to listen a lot to punk rock music. You can notice a certain influence of punk in my music. I like an aggressive music, but pretty enough heavy pop rock, which is what I really do."